Hi,
Hi, ma'am. Good evening. How are you?
good evening. I'm audible, right?
Yes, perfectly audible.
Great.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking.
Thank
First
you
of
for
all,
having
congrats.
me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Being a girl to girl, it's a great pleasure. Let
Yeah.
me just say that. First of all, congratulations, All India rank, first attempt, All India rank 28th. It's a really big deal, and you're one of our heroes. Let's just say that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I just gave your introduction to the viewers that you have done your graduation from history stream from St. Stephen's, and this was your first attempt. You're 22-year-old, and it's a great achievement. It's
Thank you. Thank you so
amazing.
much.
So, ma'am, both your parents served in the army, right?
Yeah, they did.
Uh, right. So, obviously, patriotism and serving the country was always in your blood. So, but how did you decide that you wanted to enter this stream, specifically civil services?
Right. I think, I remember this very fine day. I was in fourth standard, and my mother had, started inculcating this habit of reading the newspaper back in the day itself.
Right.
So I was just going through the newspaper, and I think that was the year when Mona Pruthi ma'am had topped. So
Okay.
I saw that, and I was really in awe of her. And I asked my mother, "What do civil servants do exactly?" And once she explained it all to me, I thought, "Oh, this seems interesting. I could give it a shot one day," because I was really young and my mind was really impressionable at that time. So as I grew up, obviously, all these stories of civil servants doing their bit for the nation is covered, and I was really inspired by that. Beyond that, I just felt that civil services, especially the Indian administrative services, gives you an opportunity to tackle so many different problems because you can work in so many different fields, and there's a wide array of opportunities that are available to you. So I think that is what really attracted me to the civil services, because as far as I go, my interests lie in really diverse fields. I want to work for women, but at the same time, I have an interest in preservation of historical sites in India. So
Right.
because I'm a history student, so
Right.
this is one service that allows you to pursue so many different interests in so many different fields and contribute to your nation as you see fit. So that is
Right.
what attracted me to the civil service.
So, when did you start like preparing very seriously? When did you get into the serious mode of preparation for the exam, and how did you begin your preparation?
Right. I think the decision to take the exam came very early in my life. I think I was in 11th or 12th when I decided, okay, this is what I want to do. And I loved history as a subject, and I had also decided that, well, if I'm enjoying it in my college years, might as well take it up as my optional.
Right.
So this formation of ideas and the decision-making processes had begun very early on. And in college, I was also exploring other options, but at the same time, civil services remained my sort of eventual goal. I think by
Right.
my third year, I had, some degree of clarity in my mind that, well, after my graduation, I want to take a gap year. I was only 20 when I graduated, so that made sense. And that's what I did. After my graduation got over, it was in May of 2018. Within the next 2 days, I moved to Old Rajendra Nagar and then began my preparation for the civil services.
Right.
And as far as beginning the preparation goes, in my last semester of college, I realized that I must start looking at whatever the book lists are, whatever content is available. So I realized that geography is a weak point for me. So I decided to do all the NCRTs, geography NCRTs 6 to 12 in the last semester. And my serious preparation began like after I had graduated. Since I was already thorough with the NCRTs, because I had humanities till 12th, I didn't really face any problem as such. I could, straight away move on to the standard books, as they say.
Standard books. Right.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, as you know that prelims are just around the corner. It's on the 4th of October. A
Yeah.
lot of our aspirants are going to give this exam 2 days later. So, firstly, I'd like you to give them some last-minute tips so as to at least calm them down and
Right.
so that their score increases a little bit. And secondly, I'd like to ask you your strategy for prelims. What did you specifically do for preliminary examination?
Right. So I think what I'd like to tell the aspirants is that a lot of you are facing self-doubt and have this fear of failure. Trust me, each and every one who's cleared the exam today was in the same place a year ago, more than a year ago now, because it was in
Right.
June. So we know exactly how it feels, but this is the time not to focus on your fears. This is the time rather to focus on your goal, which is clearing the preliminary examination. So have faith in yourself. I'm sure each and every one of you have seriously prepared for this examination if they want to take it. So this is the time to
Right.
have faith. Secondly, what I would also like to suggest is that don't look at any new stuff because it's just one day away, 1 or 2 days away, right? So just look at what you've already done, revise if you think, there are certain topics you feel are really important from the point of view of the preliminary examination. You could go through the reports that the international and national agencies have come out with, go through the economic survey or the budget, or whatever you see fit, whatever you think is important for you.
Right.
Right. Then I would also like to suggest is that a lot of people they tend to go to the wrong center. They have faced that problem, and stories have come out of people taking really drastic steps once they are not allowed to
Right.
enter their center. So what I would
Right.
suggest is go see the center tomorrow itself, one day in advance at least, so that you don't face any problem on the day of the examination. Once you've checked out the center, I would also suggest that when you go to take the examination also reach 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes early. Because
Right.
I remember at my center, there was a girl who reached about just 2 minutes before the doors were about to shut. They didn't let her in still. So I would say reach 30 minutes before at least. So that is important. Then secondly, what I would also like to suggest is that take care of the stationery that is required. You have to take your black ball pens and all of that, and remember to take your photo identity card. Don't look for all these things on the morning of your examination.
Right.
What I would also add is that start sleeping on time so that when you have to stay up and use your brain during the examination, you don't feel tired or sleepy because a lot of aspirants have this habit of studying till late and waking up at 9 in the morning. So just get
Right.
your brain used to functioning properly in the time that is required. Besides that, I think what athletes could also do is eat light on the day of the examination in the morning. Don't eat a heavy breakfast. You will feel sleepy because I did whenever I ate a lot. So that's all I would like to suggest, I think, for the aspirants that are taking the exam. But what I would like to add in the end is that you are really important. You as a human being are really important. So take care of your mental health. Don't take too much stress. Agar stress hota hai, so please talk to a friend or your parents. They can guide you best in this time. And just honestly, I think mental health is really important, especially in the times we are living in, considering there's a pandemic going on. So take care of yourself. And that's pretty much it from my side. As far as what I did for prelims goes, I think my strategy was mostly integrated, prelims and mains focused, till about 3 months before my prelims. I think when about 3 months were left, I started focusing completely on my prelims and prelims itself.
Right.
What I did was go through the basic NCRTs. And for basic NCRTs, I think I had revised them at least 2 times before my prelims. This is in addition to the fact that I had already read them in the beginning of my preparation.
Right.
Beyond that, I would say go again revise Lakshmikant over and over again because it doesn't matter how many times you revise it, there's things you'll still miss. And I know I missed them so many times. And each time I read the book, I felt like there was a new tidbit of information that I was learning. So I think revision of Lakshmikant especially is really important. Other books such as Spectrum also become really important when you're tackling the modern India section.
Right.
Right. And then you have to analyze the economic survey, the budget from the prelims point of view, and you have to keep revising them over and over again. Beyond that, I think I took a lot of mock tests. My frequency of mock tests really increased in the last 3 months. I used to take about 2 to 3 mock tests in a week. And also, what is important is not just taking the mock test, you have to analyze your scores, where you went wrong, how you can
Right.
improve, and you have to take your marks, seriously, but not so seriously that you get demotivated that, oh, I'm not getting, I'm just getting 80 or 70 and I'm not doing well. So like, let's just quit this dream of civil services. But you have to learn from your mistakes and just implement it in your next test. And over time, you will see an actual improvement. And I did see an improvement in myself when I analyzed the tests and took, my shortcomings into account, focused on my weaker areas. And
Right.
that is what I would like to suggest the aspirants do as well.
Okay, ma'am. Your optional was history, which is also considered a quite a vast sort of an optional. But since it was your subject in the graduation, but still it is quite vast. So how did you make sure that you balanced your general science preparation along with your optional one?
Right. What I did was I used to divide my day into three parts actually. So for the year that I took off, in the first half of the day, I used to focus on my general studies preparation. In the
Right.
evening, I would focus on my optional preparation, and in the like post dinner time, I used to do my current affairs. So I think that gave me a lot of time to see that I would complete my optional paper as well as my general studies subjects in an adequate time. And I think it was easy for me, like you said, because I had it in my graduation days and I was able to complete the entire syllabus actually in 6 months. And I think people find it really hard because history, like you said, is quite vast. But I think if someone is taking up that subject and they do not have prior experience or they haven't done their graduation in the subject, then I would say that you take at least 1 year to complete the syllabus. Actually, more than that, start your preparation during your college days if you can, and that would really help one out if they are planning to take history as an optional. And I would also like to add that history, though it is vast, it's a really good optional because it really widens your perspective, gives you matter
Right.
for your GS1 paper, your essay paper, and I think it's really fun to read, honestly. So you won't get bored, that is for sure. And I think the only drawback is the fact that it's vast.
Right. What about CSAT, ma'am? Because since you're not from a science background, so I think you will be most fit to answer this question. That sometimes people do tend to ignore or overanalyze CSAT. So,
Hmm.
what do you think is a balanced approach for CSAT preparation?
Right. I think, a lot of humanities students tend to face a problem in the CSAT section, but touchwood, I didn't because I had taken the NTSC examination, and even though I wasn't successful, I
Right.
did learn something from it. So I think I didn't face a problem as far as CSAT was concerned. But what I would like to suggest is that go through the past year papers that are available on the UPSC website. And I think once you solve about 5 papers, you will figure out what is your weak section. For some people, it could be the English comprehension section. For others, it could be the math section or the mental ability section. Once you
Right.
figured out what is your weak spot, then you can go for dedicated preparation of that area. So what I would like to suggest is that firstly go through the past year papers and then figure out your weaker areas. Beyond that, what I also did was I took 2 to 3 mock tests for CSAT, and I think I was fairly sorted as far as CSAT was concerned with these about 7, 8 tests in all that I've taken, considering the UPSC previous year papers and the 2 to 3 mock tests that I've taken.
Right. Ma'am, answer writing is one area which is a bone of contention for most of the students because people don't know when to start writing answers, how to start writing answers, and what is the correct time for which one should practice writing answers. So, when did you start your test series for mains, and how did you go on about answer writing?
Right. So I had finished my syllabus by October, end November, beginning around that time. And then what I did was I decided I will do answer writing practice at home for GS papers. So every hour, every day for 1 hour, I would write answers. About 2 to 3 answers I began writing. And at the same time, I started taking a test series for my history optional just after I had done my syllabus for history as well. Now, what people are confused about is the mains answer writing when they should take it. I think one should take it once they are thorough with the syllabus. I didn't feel I was completely thorough with my GS syllabus just after I finished the syllabus once. So what I did
Right.
was for all the mains test series, I took them after my prelims was over because I felt more confident by that time, and I also felt it's high time I take some test series. So
Right.
that's when I took them. But for essay, for instance, I started taking test series from November itself. One test series for essay I had started taking by then. So it entirely depends on the aspirant when they feel comfortable, when they feel confident of themselves that okay, they'll be able to answer at least 12 to 15 questions in a test on a particular topic. So that is what I would like to suggest. See, if you think you're thorough with the syllabus, then begin your test series. But if you feel that there are inadequacies, if you feel underconfident about certain areas, then start writing answers at home. The moment you feel more confident, then you go for the test series in the exam centers, or now that there's a pandemic, you have to write them at home. So
Right.
whatever you see fit.
What about, ma'am, interview preparation? Because sometimes people say that you should not take more than 2 to 3 mocks. Some of the toppers say that they had taken plethora of mocks for the interview preparation. What was your? How did you prepare for the interview, and how was your experience with the interview panel?
Right. I think toppers are right in saying that you shouldn't take more than 3 to 4 mocks. I would say
Right.
not 2 to 3. That's a little less. I would put the number around 3, 4, or maybe even 5. I think 5 is the highest number of mocks you should take. I
Right.
went a little overboard. I think I took about 6 to 7 mocks. I'm not sure. I think six. And what happens is that the more number of mocks you take, you get sometimes varying feedback from different panels, right? So sometimes a panel, I remember, like I had taken an interview, and then the panel said that, oh, you're very well prepared and best of luck for your interview. The next day I took another interview and the panel wasn't impressed with me, and they're like, you really have to prepare. So, you should take their, feedback with a pinch of salt, first of all, and take only 4, 5 mocks at the max. And
Right.
choose the institutes that you're going to. I went to Drishti, I went to Chanakya, I went to Rao, I went to Vision. And for me, I think what worked best was the Drishti, Chanakya, and Rao. I think I was really like fine with these institutes, and the kind of feedback they provided me, I also improved with their feedback.
Right.
As far as my interview experience goes, I think I had a really, really great experience. It was in the pre-COVID time. The lockdown hadn't started, so I think that also worked in my favor. My panel was headed by Professor P.K. Joshi, and they were extremely cordial. From the moment I entered, I was really nervous, but they made a concerted effort to make me feel comfortable, and they even read out my DAF in the beginning, the chairperson,
Right.
and they said, well, you've lived in Old Rajendra Nagar for after your graduation. So how was your experience there? Did you face any problems? So I think that made me feel really confident, and comfortable with them.
Right.
Beyond that, I think they asked me questions on topics that I had prepared, and I was expecting such questions because they asked me questions on my history optional. They asked me about the industrial revolution, the revolt of 1857, and about Subhash Chandra Bose. And beyond that, they asked me questions about my current affairs again, which was also expected in your interview, for instance. And the visit had just concluded, I think, in the end of February, and my interview was on 11th of March. So I think that was a really expected sort of question that came. I think beyond that, I feel that they were really, smiling at me, and that made me feel really confident of myself. That yes, maybe I'm going in the right direction, because there's no way of knowing if you're answering right or wrong. Only some expression on their face can tell you you're fine. So I think the panelists that way they also told me that if you don't know an answer, it's fine, because I remember I got really slightly stressed. I think once they asked me a question, I think, and I didn't know the answer, so I took some time and then I said, I don't know, sir. And then he genuinely like burst out saying, no problem, relax, it's not a big deal. We're just here to have a interaction with you. So I think that way the panel was really nice, and I think you have to be honest at the end of the day with the panel. If you don't know something, be humble, admit the fact that you don't know, rather than cooking up stories about it. And I think the panel is not there to really just test your knowledge. Knowledge does form a basic part of your interview, but beyond that, it's a test
Right.
of your personality, your honesty, your integrity, and your humility.
Ma'am, I think there's some confusion with the internet.
I think the video got disconnected for a bit.
Yes, for a bit, for at least 10 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
You were talking about the integrity.
Yeah, so I think that's what I would like to say. That I think your personality matters more. Knowledge, like I said, is a basic aspect, but beyond that, you have to really be an honest and a humble person, and inculcate these skills in you when you are preparing. And I think the civil services preparation really does make you humble, because you realize that there's a lot that you don't know, and you then accept the fact that there are gaps in your knowledge, and you automatically get prepared for the interview through the course of your preparation.
Right. Ma'am, this is an examination in which nothing is certain. I would say that. There are people who get selected in their very first attempt. There are people who are organized and study hard and still do not get selected even in their third or fourth attempt. What according to you were the things that you did because of which you got selected in your very first attempt, and that too with such a brilliant rank?
Right. I think first and foremost, I think what I did was follow a schedule, and I followed it with the utmost discipline. In my opinion, of course, there were days when you don't want to study at all, and those days came, and I obviously took time off from my preparation as well, just for my mental health and my own happiness. You have to take time off,
Right.
because it can get really isolating. It can get really stressful. So, as far as I was concerned, I was following my schedule, and at the same time I was taking adequate breaks according to me. You have to be your own, you have to keep a check on your own self. No one else can tell you, okay, this is how much you have to study in a day, and then you can take a break. So see for yourself, and see how much you can take. See if you can study for 4 or 5 hours continuously, then good for you. If you wish to take a break after every 1.5 hours, I think that is also great. So at the end of the day, you have to sort of streamline your own strategy. You can look at as many toppers videos and topper talks, which of course I did that as well. But you have to pick and choose
Right.
aspects of their strategy that will work the best for you. I think that is the first and foremost thing I did. Secondly, I feel that a lot of students are confused about the importance that is to be given to current affairs. I think someone who is taking their first attempt, they can have an edge over others if they focus more on current affairs, because I feel that people who are taking their second or third attempt, they're already really good at the statics section. So you can never really be as good as them, because they've gone through the same books over and over again so many times. So if you want to
Right.
take an edge over them, focus more on your current affairs, because current affairs every year is new for everyone. So focus more on your current affairs, I feel. And I feel read one newspaper, but read it religiously. Don't substitute newspaper reading with monthly compilations or like daily compilations or whatever is available in the market. They are important too, but newspaper has its own important place. And I think newspaper reading was something that was a very important aspect of my strategy. I
Right.
think thirdly, what worked for me was that figuring out how to make notes. A lot of people say that we should make notes for each and every topic that is there, and some say, oh, handwritten notes are better, or online notes are better. What I did was again a combination of two. For instance, for current affairs, if you start making handwritten notes, it will take a lot of time, and you'll take about 3 hours to finish the current affairs section every day, which is a
Right.
lot of time. So you have to reduce that, and I think for that, making online notes is the best strategy, is the best way to go. I used Evernote, and that's what I would recommend to the aspirants. Beyond that, I feel when you're making handwritten notes, always try to make handwritten notes for subjects or topics that have scattered sources. Don't make handwritten notes for topics that have one single source. For instance,
Right.
polity has Lakshmikant and Lakshmikant only. So you don't have to make Lakshmikant's notes, because if you start making notes of that book, then you'll write another Lakshmikant yourself, I feel.
Right.
So, yeah. So I think that is important. You have to figure out key, okay, this is the topic which requires note making. This is the topic that does not require note making at all. I can just read the book, highlight there, jot down certain points on the side. Other than that, you don't really need to do anything. And I think I
Right.
figured it out for myself, because a lot of people, they keep asking toppers that, oh, what should I do for this? What should I read for that? At the end of the day, you can look at multiple books lists. I also refer to multiple book lists, but you have to figure it out for your own self, because once you figure it out for your own self, you will feel more comfortable, because you will realize that okay, this is the source that I am most comfortable with, covers the topic adequately, and you will have fun actually reading that particular source that you've chosen for yourself. I
Right.
think, yeah, so I think that's what I did. Beyond that, I think my optional was a strong point for me because I graduated in history. I took it up as an optional, and I was really comfortable with the subject. I never really got bored. There were obviously times when I used to think, okay, this is really, really vast, and what have I done? But most of the time, I was very happy with my optional. And I think other areas that people also need to focus on are essay writing. For me, I think essay writing again was a strength for me. I had been writing essays since my childhood, and in my college years also, I took part in essay writing competitions. So for me, it was not that much of a problem. Yet I took 3 test series. So if you think your expression is not that great, then you have to realize that you have to work on it. Because I am someone who felt confident in their essay section, but at the same time, I took so many test series for it. So if you think you're weaker in this section, so start working on it as soon as possible. And the thing with essay is that you don't really need to specifically prepare for it. You can read your
Right.
GS notes, you can read the newspaper regularly, and you will be sorted. And you have to figure out certain quotations, certain statistics, certain anecdotes, and you will be sorted. You don't really have to put in that much of an extra effort, but
Right.
the return you get on that effort will be really high. I think same goes for your GS4 as well. Ethics is a really fun you know subject, I would say, because you get to
Right.
explore so many new ideas, so many new moral philosophers, and I think that is the aspect I enjoyed the most. A lot of people would recommend, read a book for these moral philosophers. What I did was I went to YouTube. There's a YouTube channel, The School of Life, and they have
Right.
10-minute videos, and they explain philosophers' ideas really well. So you really have to realize that this preparation that you're undertaking, it is going to take 2 years of your life, and you have to have fun with it at times. You can't just be stuck with books. You have to figure out alternate sources. You have to look at videos. You have to look at infographics, whatever makes it interesting. So
Right.
that I think was my major takeaway. You have to enjoy the journey as well, and I think I enjoyed myself during my preparation, and that really sorted me as far as the exams were concerned.
Right. Uh, so the next question that I'm going to ask you is a very personal one. I very strongly believe that the gender of a person should not be determined by their profession. You are a civil servant, period, not a female civil servant or a male civil servant. But still, the country that we live in and the world that we live in, a lot of women, or the second sex as they say, they do not have the resources and the opportunities, and sometimes the cushioning or the parental support, but still they dream about certain things. So I'd like you to give a special message to these girls out there who maybe are looking at you and want to get inspired because they have the passion and dream to, but they just need to follow it. So what would you say to them?
I think, as I would say to each and every female, the world is your oyster, and the sky is not even the limit. You can go
Right.
beyond that as well. So I think, and I do agree that there are a lot of women out there who don't have the necessary, parental support for, clearing this examination. And in my opinion, you really need to have a good support network for clearing this examination. What
Exactly.
I would like to tell them is that, even though, your parents might not be supportive, or, there are hindrances in your way, try to, look at, the examination as your goal and the changes you would like to see in the society. As a woman, I think you would like to see that there is no other female who has to face the same hindrances as you do, and I think that would be the greatest motivator. For me, even though I did not face any sort of parental hindrances or anything, but I knew for a fact that there are a lot of women who do, and I wish to clear the civil services so that I could improve their lives, and I so that they don't have to face these challenges in the future. And I think for any
Right.
woman who's taking this examination, this has to be and this can be your biggest motivator. So I think once you keep your goal in mind, all these hindrances, I think, you can't completely ever overcome them, but you will feel more motivated to take on these challenges in your life. And I think that is my message for each and every woman who wishes to take this exam or wishes to pursue any career, that her parents are not supportive of, or she faces any social problems as such. So that from my side would be the advice.
Right. Last question of the session, ma'am. In the 2021 prelims, there are just 9 months, approximately 9 months, which are also sufficient to, give the syllabus, and complete the syllabus and give the exam. For somebody who wants to give the exam in 2021, what do you have to say to that person? How to begin right now?
Right. I think, anyone who has decided to take the civil services examination, there's no looking back now. Just focus on your goal, and just keep it in mind that you are going to take the 2021 attempt. Don't delay. Don't be like, oh, I have less time, so I can maybe take it in 2022, because you don't know what will happen in 2022. Like, this year the pandemic, took us all by surprise, and we obviously, like, it has affected the preparation of so many people.
Right.
So what I would like to suggest is, once you've made the decision for yourself, 9 months actually is an adequate time to finish your syllabus. Finish your syllabus first in the first 6 months, and I would say that it would also take a lot from someone who hasn't, focused on the NCRTs before, or is just starting their preparation for the first time around. So even though you'll have to study for about 12 hours even at this point, but keep your goal in mind and take adequate breaks. Take a break every 15 to 20 days, and schedule your preparation. So make a yearly schedule, like for the next 9 months, what you wish to do in each and every month. After you've made your yearly schedule, then you have to divide your monthly schedule as well. So for instance, what I could suggest is that, okay, you take the first 4, 5, or 6 months to finish the basic sources as well as the standard books itself. And then after the sixth month, you can start focusing on the prelims itself, because you will have only 3 months left. After the prelims, what I would recommend is, take a week's break maybe, and then start taking your test series. And when you're taking your test series, take the right amount of test series. Don't go overboard. Don't take fewer test series than necessary,
Right.
but keep revising. And since the time is limited for the next attempt, 2021 attempt, what I would also like to suggest is that don't go for numerous sources. For instance, like, for polity, don't read DD Basu, this, that, whatever is out there. Read Lakshmikant, be thorough with it, and focus on your current affairs, because like I said, the time is less, but current affairs is where you can get an edge over people who have taken previous attempts. So focus on
Right.
your current affairs for both prelims, mains, and the interview. And I think that will really take you far.
Right.
So I think that is, as far as I would say, like, these are my suggestions. Feel free to pick and choose again.
Ma'am, what are the changes that you think have happened to you personally while started, from the time you started preparing till now? What are the changes that have come inside you?
Right. I think I'm a much more humble person. And this is not to say that I was really arrogant earlier or anything, but I think,
Right.
I was just really confident, like, slightly overconfident, I would say, of myself as far as my knowledge was concerned. But then I started preparing for the civil services and realized, like, where you stand in, life, that, okay, there's so many things you don't know and so many things you have to study. I think that has been my number one change. Secondly, I think I've become more empathetic as a person, because you read so many statistics, and you realize that these statistics are not just statistics, these are people whose lives have been affected by a certain change. So, like, if you read the unemployment data, or you look at crime reports or anything as such, you realize that, at some level, that these are not just statistics, these were human lives that were affected. And then you get more motivated, actually, I think, to become a civil servant, because you're like, when I am in a position of power, I will, take the adequate steps that are required.
Right.
So I think I became more empathetic. And I think beyond that, I've become a much more calmer person as well, calm and patient. Because earlier, I think I was just in a hurry to finish each and everything. But during my preparation, I realized, like good things come to those who wait. And even though I cleared in my first attempt, I think 2 years still is a long time to, wait and, get rewards for your efforts. So, and I think I became calmer and more patient as a result of this.
That's true. Ma'am, very seldom that it happens, because I am also preparing. Whenever we see your videos, toppers videos and everything, um, you feel a sense of inspiration, but you also feel ki, why couldn't I clear this exam in my first attempt and everything. But after talking to you today, I think you completely deserved to clear it in your first go.
Thank
Uh,
you so
thank
much.
Yes, I think you'll do wonders with this service when you go for your FC once and you get posted somewhere. Thank you so much for taking time out. And it was a brilliant session, I must say this. I have taken around 10 to 12 interviews, and this was one of the best ones that I've had.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. I think, it's really nice to always, interact with aspirants and, but it's also really interesting to interact with an aspirant who's a woman and who wants to, go for a career in the civil services. I think I wish you best of luck and I do hope you make it soon.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All the best for everything that you do in life.
Thank you so much. So I'll just leave the
But
session now, right?
yes, ma'am. Bye.
All right. Bye.